You're listening to the Faith and Business Podcast with me, your host, Elle Edwards, from the Faith and Business Playground, here with Bible-friendly brain gymnastics to help make your day-to-day life and business more delightful. In today's episode of the podcast, we are thinking about faith versus doubt. Now, if you listen to the little daily Mindset Minute, you'll know that this week is Faith Week in the Mindset Minute, largely because I started introducing a theme for the week to help me stay a little bit organised. Christmas coming up, I wanted to spend time with family, playing games, enjoying each other's company, but I also wanted to continue putting out the Mindset Minute because there's not a huge number of people listening to it right now, but there are people that enjoy it each day. And so I didn't want to let anybody down. However, in order to pre-record that many episodes, I needed a way to stay organized, which is where the themes came in. And they're not just like random themes. They are related to the work and the play that we do here at the Faith and Business Playground. But like I say, this week is Faith Week. So I started to ponder on, okay, so what is faith and the opposite of faith, doubt, and how can we use our amazing brains and the science inside our amazing brains to help develop our faith? And can we do that? Should we do that? And, is that biblical? And these are some of the things that we are going to be digging into in today's episode. And I get twice this week, in fact, I get to talk about one of my favorite ever parts of your brain. It's the reticular activating system. It's that part of the brain that filters in information, stimuli, stuff that your brain deems as being important to you. Now, if you're a person of faith, and I imagine if you're listening to this, you probably are, because the branding is all about faith, and it tends to repel people who have no belief in anybody or anything or anyone bigger than themselves. So as a person of faith, you will probably have times where you can feel yourself being a bit wibbly wobbly. And the very first thing that I feel compelled to mention, of course, that this really is not you. In terms of the Bible, there are multiple examples of people whose faith was not the strongest, and yet God still used them, and God still had an important part in their life. So there's that. But there's also, people around you today, the person you're listening to. I'm sat here waving my hand. I have days and moments where I'm just like, I'm really not sure. That's what it is to be human. So the first thing I just wanted to encourage you is, look, if you're listening to this going, faith, doubt, I have more doubts than faiths, please know you're not alone. The really lovely thing is that our faith comes from God. We can't manufacture our faith. We can't willpower our way to having more faith. It says in the Bible that faith is a gift from God. And so if you want more faith, it says in James that you should ask for it. And actually, that's wisdom. In James, it's my brain was catching up with my mouth then. It says in James how that, if we want more wisdom, ask for it. And when we ask for it, we should believe and not doubt. So that actually just contradicts what I just said, a bit at least, because in James, we're criticized for not having enough faith. However, there are other parts of the Bible where it does say that faith is a gift from God. So, and also there's that really famous example when Jesus was healing somebody and the guy said, look, help me in my unbelief. So yes, although James can be quite strict, let's be honest. I imagine if we were to meet him over a cup of coffee, he'd be the one who only drank herbal tea and was very sort of, virtuous and correct about stuff. I'm sure he was a lovely guy. I'm not criticizing James for a moment, please. I don't want to get nasty emails. James, my favorite, please don't be nasty to him. No, I'm sure he's a great dude. However, some of his stuff in his book is quite, it's quite full on, isn't it? It's really, it can be quite convicting and quite sort of challenging. But faith is a gift from God. And that's the first thing that I feel compelled to remind both me and you, because all of this stuff I say, it's reminders to myself as well. And please never run away with the idea that it's me just preaching at you. I share the stuff that I need to hear myself too. So faith is a gift from God. And we can ask for more faith. And the precedent has been set in the Bible that we should ask for more faith. I know you don't usually like the word should, but this is a positive one. We are encouraged, we're actively encouraged to ask God for more faith. And he wants to give that to us, which is delightful and wonderful. The other piece of this, where this ties in, because, my USP, if you like, my positioning on the faith work that I do and the community that I have here, because, there are there are a number of faith and business focused websites and communities and groups and trainings out there. And so it forces you to go, okay, well, what am I bringing that's different? What am I offering? And so my unique spin on this is the brain science part of it. And so I love the practical with the spiritual and all of it mushing together. So from a practical brain perspective, this is where your reticular activating system comes in. And I'm going to stop apologizing for mentioning this again, because it is really part of my core message. The God created your brain. Your brain was wonderfully knit together in this amazing way. And so we should be and can be and are encouraged to use these tools. Now, how this comes into the reticular activating system and faith is that the more that you look for examples of things, the more that you focus on the things that you do have faith in, the more that you ask for faith from God, the more that you step forward in faith. And actually, we're going to dig into this more on Friday's episode. The more that you take those actions that demonstrate that faith, the more examples of that will be filtered in. So if you're the kind of person who right now thinks, no, I don't have enough faith, I have no examples of me demonstrating faith, the more you think that and the more you ponder on that, the more your brain will prove you right. And so I wanted to encourage you today instead to flip it. And actually, why not think of those times when you are doubting? Look at those as a gift. Because if you can doubt, you can have faith. And it's a bit like when we talk about happiness and sadness and this roller coaster of emotions, nobody is happy all the time anyway. I mean, I say anybody who tells you they're happy all the time is either on something or they're lying to you or to themselves. But leaving that aside, when times are feeling a bit trickier, when we're not having an amazingly positive time of it, when things then get better, because they do, this too shall pass, when things get better, those bright moments feel all the more delightful and lovely because of the hard times. So if you've really worked at something, I mean, quite candidly, when I closed my VA business to focus on the faith and business playground, there were some months there where things were quiet. As you can imagine, I shut down a business that was successful, that was earning money, but it was niggling at me. There was more work to do there. And that's actually something we're going to dig into next week. But there were times there where I'm like, oh, are you sure? And it felt scary. There's still days when it feels scary, but it felt really quite scary. And I'm like, okay, what if I've just made a really big mistake here? But if we instead let's look at that doubt and that uncertainty as a gift. Because if you can have those moments where you're not sure, you can choose to flip it. And you can say to God, do you know what? I don't know what this looks like. I don't know how to do this next bit, but I know that you can see the bigger picture. And the thing that never fails to blow my mind is that God, all the way back when he put the world together, could see this right moment. So he could see me here right now speaking these words to you. And he puts those ideas and those inspirations and those niggles and those thoughts into my mind, gives me the words to articulate, all being well, what he wants you to hear. And then you, where you're sat right now listening to this, whether you're listening to this on the day it is released or a couple of days later or some months later, you are where you need to be right now. And God knew that. I mean, how mind-blowing is that? It never fails to make me go, whoa. It's quite stunningly I haven't even got the words. I'm saying because I haven't got the vocabulary to describe how much that blows my mind. But that same God who knew all of that stuff and continues to know all of that stuff, he can see the big picture. And so instead of thinking, oh, no, I don't have enough faith, I don't have this, I doubt this, I'm not sure about that, let's instead choose to flip it and go, right, I don't know yet, but I know and I trust and I believe in a God who loves me, who has got this bigger picture to holding everything together. He's got this covered, even when I don't know all the pieces. And I guess that's the big advantage, I think is the word I'm looking for, maybe not. But that's where I feel like we do have an advantage as people of faith. Because if we didn't have that, it's just you floundering around on your own. There are loads of successful business owners who don't have any faith, who maybe don't have anything other than themselves. And that's absolutely fine for them in that moment. I would maintain, as an aside, I mean, ultimately, God put that niggle inside all of us. Like, God loves every single person on this planet. So, those niggles are there regardless of whether somebody acknowledges God or not. But as a person of faith, you are in a strong position because God is saying to you, it's okay that you don't know all the answers. It's okay that you're not sure. I've got this. And I guess that's the biggest takeaway for you from this episode, if anything, is just one of encouragement, because there will be times when you don't know the answers, but God says that he is strongest when we are weakest. If we can practice day by day to go, I'm not sure, but I know you've got this. Or, God, lead me forward, go ahead of me today. That would equip us and empower us far more than any of the thinking and the planning and the plotting that we can do. That's not to say that we shouldn't take action. And like I say, we're going to dig into that on Friday. God's not saying you just sit on your behind and twiddle your thumbs and it will magically drop in your lap. That's not what it's about. Please don't think that's what I'm saying. But if we can start from this position of, okay, I don't know, but God's got this, that will help power us forward. And the wonderful thing with the way that your brain is wired, with that reticular activating system, the more that we do it day by day, the more examples that you keep your eyes open for of God leading you forward, of God giving you those nudges. I mean, I've lost count of the number of times where I put some content out and someone's messaged me and said, how did you know I needed to hear that today? I'm like, I didn't, but I just followed the nudges. And more often than not as well, what's fascinating to me is it tends to happen on the days when I had something else planned, but then another idea plopped in my head and I went with it. And I do believe that those ideas plopping on our heads, that's not a very nice imagery, something plopping, but those ideas, that those little niggles, those nudges, those little thoughts that pop in your head, they are often God-given. Other than there are times when it's self-doubt and given, but those positive things that pop into your mind, they are gifts from God. And so we want to move forward from those. And like I say, the more that we do that, the more that we step forward day by day and take those acts of faith and look out for those examples of God showing us that he's got this covered, the more our brain will filter those examples in. And it's not, and that's, when I say that, that's not to take anything away from God. He's still doing the stuff because he created your brain to do that. It's the way that you were wired, the way that you were put together. So I guess my takeaway from at the end of all of this is just one of encouragement. And I've said that twice now in the space of like 2 minutes. But please be encouraged. Know that God's got this. If you're sat there today listening to this going, yeah, I'm not sure, that's okay. God can help you in your unbelief. God can lead you forward from here. It's, I guess, the next step really is just going, God, I'm not sure you've got this. Show me what's next. And then see what happens. Give it a go. Try. You never know. I mean, fair warning, sometimes what God has in mind for you next is going to be bigger and more amazing and more expansive and out there than you can possibly imagine. And if we ponder on that too much, it can be mildly terrifying. So let's not ponder on that bit, but just acknowledge that God's got this. He knew that you would be here right now today, and he's got this covered for you. And of course, I would be doing you a disservice. It's not the 21st of December yet at the time of recording. So if you're listening to this before the 21st of December, I would, and if this sounds like stuff that resonates with you, I would invite you to go to faithandbusinessplayground.com/join. Find out more about the community that I'm bringing together. The doors do close on the 21st of December. They will reopen in the second quarter of 2019. So they're not gone forever. However, the first quarter of 2019, we've got some amazing group teaching, faith, just loads of really good stuff to help build your faith, your business, and your life, I guess, in 2019. But go and have a look at that page. It will tell you more. And of course, if you have any questions, you can email me, hello@eledwards.uk. But go and have a little look at it, because I am looking for 10 to 20 wonderful, fun-loving, faith-driven entrepreneurs to lead forward in 2019. And I would love that to be you. In the meantime, thank you for listening. I look forward to catching up with you in the next episode on Friday, where we'll be talking about getting your feet wet. Probably metaphorically speaking, but that's coming out on Friday. In the meantime, smile, have yourself a delightful day. I've been Elle from the Faith and Business Playground. I look forward to catching up with you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.